Oh, yeah.
Hold a big power tonight.
Yeah,
Be a no guy.
veto practically.
I'm not sure though what the area is like.
No.
Really?
Ready?
Wedding was beautiful.
I'd like to gavel in our regularly scheduled meeting for December 16, 2013. If you'd all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Here.
Alderman Nguyen.
Here.
Alderman Robertson.
Here.
Alderman Kramer. Alderman Toohey.
Here.
Alderman Leahy. Alderwoman Manister. Alderwoman Saunders.
Present. Since Tom's not here.
Next item, approval of the agenda for the regular Alderman meeting for December 16, 2013. Any changes to the agenda? I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Had a first and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Consideration approval of the minutes from the December 2nd Board of Alderman meeting. Any changes? Alderwoman Saunders?
No changes. I just wanted to compliment Octavia on them. I thought they were excellent. And for me personally, you got my thoughts concise and presented well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the agenda, or the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, presentation and recognitions. We have none. We have a public hearing this evening. I'll go ahead and gavel in a public hearing scheduled for a petition for a site plan for a conditional use permit and approval for an office associated with automobile sales.
Thank you, Your Honor. The petition this evening is for a conditional use permit and site plan approval for an office associated with Sullins Auto Sales to locate at 2820 and 2828 South Brentwood Boulevard. For those looking, 2828 is located right here. 2820 is just the parking lot that's immediately adjacent to it. The site is located on the northeast corner of the intersection of Brentwood Boulevard and Pendleton Avenue, which is approximately 725 feet south of Manchester Road. The site is currently governed GC General Commercial District, and the site is currently occupied by Walters Foreign Car Service. The petitioner plans to lease approximately 150 square feet of office space for the new use. And to show kind of where that office, so this is the office within the existing building. This is the front of the building, and then on the bottom right is the waiting room in the adjoining office. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the request, and they passed a recommendation for approval with 5 conditions included with the permit. All of those conditions are included in the ordinance that's before the board this evening. They include that no additional signage to indicate a separate business is being operated on the lot, no signage permitted on any vehicles which would advertise vehicles for sale, vehicle inventory or storage shall not be placed outside of structures in a manner that would prevent safe and efficient circulation on the site or would impede emergency service provider access. No car associated with this use shall be on the parking lot for more than 30 days. And no more than 3 vehicles associated with this use shall be on the lot at any time. And again, all of these conditions are in the ordinance that's before you this evening.
Okay. At this time, we'll open up to the general public. If anybody'd like to make a comment with respect to this proposed use. Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And the applicants are here, and we will have an ordinance in just a few minutes. So. Next item, item 7, bids. We have 4 this evening. Paula?
Thank you, Your Honor. The first one is the asphalt materials.
The city issued a request for proposal for asphalt materials. They are used for public works, streets, and trail projects. 2 companies responded to the proposal. And in our review of the proposals that were submitted, cost and location of the responders were a factor in the selection process. The 2 responders were West Contracting, their Pacific plant, and Fred Weber, their Maryland Heights plant. Fred Weber submitted 2, also their Kings Highway plant. Based on staff recommendation and Public Works Committee review, Fred Weber out of the Maryland Heights plant location is the best and low bidder for this asphalt materials.
Okay.
Okay, second one. The second one is earthen materials. The city issued a proposal back in September. Earthen materials include items such as rock, sand, topsoil, and mulch. These items are used by the Public Works street and sidewalk projects. 3 companies responded with proposals to this request for proposal: Fred Weber, Kirkwood Material, and Breckenridge. Interestingly enough, not one of the 3 vendors offered the best price on all these items. So staff recommendation and Public Works Committee concurs that the city enter into an agreement with all 3 responders. Fred Weber, who offered the best pricing on 3/4 inch minus rock and 1 inch clean rock. Kirkwood Materials offered the best pricing on topsoil and mulch materials. And then Breckenridge offered the best pricing on river sand. So the recommendation is for an agreement with all 3. Then petroleum products. The city once again issued a request for a proposal for petroleum products. These are items that are used by the Public Works Department in maintaining vehicles. Items include engine oil, hydraulic fluid, coolant, diesel exhaust fluid. We placed a notice on the city website and in widely read publication. In addition to this, the Public Works Project Manager contacted the 3 vendors that were listed on the bid tabulation, but we only received a submittal from one of the vendor. And Public Works Department and the Public Works Committee recommends that the bid be awarded to Energy Petroleum. The last item is for loose equipment purchased for a new fire truck. The city issued a request for proposal for loose equipment to outfit the new pumper and replace equipment that was removed from service 2 years ago. The equipment that was removed were considered outdated, unsafe, and non-compliant. The department placed an ad also on the website and in a widely read local publication. 5 vendors picked up the packet, 4 submitted a bid, namely Schumacher Fire Equipment, Leo M. Ellebrack Company, Banner Fire Equipment, Sentinel Emergency Solutions, and those are the 4. The fire department and the Public Safety Committee recommends that based on the best and low bid, that the hydraulic rescue tools, which are Jaws of Life, cutters, and spreaders, be awarded to Holmatro Rescue, to Schumacher Fire Apparatus, and the balance of those items be awarded to Sentinel Emergency Solutions.
Okay. Actually, just, Jim, can I ask a couple questions on a couple of these? I don't, have we in the past entered into contracts with these with the earthen materials specifically?
No.
Typically you would call around and get the best price on those items anyway.
Correct.
When we needed them, and availability is a big factor too. In same way with asphalt, really, isn't that?
Well, asphalt.
Sometimes certain plants are shut down, you can't get
Right,
it.
right. Usually with Fred Weber, especially this time of year, you'll either have Maryland Heights or the city plant open,
Right.
one of the 2.
Why are we actually entering into agreements for these types of materials?
We're basically trying to lock in the price because there is a fixed price here.
Correct.
And how long is that for?
A year.
Most of them
A
are
year.
for a year. Petroleum products is for 3.
Okay, all right, okay.
Can I ask one question? Jim, at Public Works, did we forward all 3 for the earthen materials? Is that the conclusion? Okay, for some reason that escaped me.
And, you know, we would still call, topsoil is a little pricey at Kirkwood Material. We would still get better pricing probably from like Simpson's, which we would call around first.
Do the contracts, are they such that we're locked in for this price, but can we go elsewhere if somebody beats the price?
Yeah, that's the key question, right.
I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
I don't know how the contract, I mean, I didn't look close enough to as to how to.
think
It's to
drafted.
lock in the price with that specific company.
But does it prevent you from going elsewhere?
I looked at the contracts and I didn't see anything in there that would prohibit the city from going elsewhere during the term of the agreement. It's not an exclusive agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, again, sometimes it's just availability, too. They may not even have the product you need, and if we're, you know,
That's
wouldn't be
right.
able to go there. Okay, all right, thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Okay. Any questions with respect to the bids? Okay. Next item, we'll move on to item 8, hearing of any matters of any person present. If anybody would like to address the Board of Aldermen, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Denise Ebbing, 2612 Porter. And first of all, I think it's important to give kudos where kudos are deserved, and I want to say thank you to the Public Works folks, because with this past storm, I think they did a fabulous job at snow removal, and I think that should be recognized because a lot of our neighboring communities do not have as good as snow removal, so I wanted to recognize that. Secondly, I wanted to share an article that I found in the Kirkwood Webster Times. It was their December 6th through 12th edition. I'll share it with the board now.
Thank you.
You'll notice that the first thing it says is that the Kirkwood City Council on November 21st denied a special use permit by the Watering Bowl Canine daycare operation to locate at 140 Prospect Avenue. David Barella, an owner of the building immediately west of the 140 Prospect Avenue, complained that a doggy daycare facility designed to accommodate up to 75 dogs would be an intolerable source of noise for his business operation. Several residents signed, 42 to be exact, and in the area residents and tenants sent a petition to their Board of Aldermen saying that they thought it was going to be too noisy. 2 council members of Kirkwood, Nancy Lutzo and Gina Jeksetic, said they visited the Watering Bowl location in Brentwood and confirmed that barking was loud and continuous. The Board of Aldermen at Kirkwood voted it down unanimously, the petition to obtain a permit, 7-0. I bring this up because while I appreciate the fact that this board did send a letter to Mr. King, the owner, telling him there's a nuisance, that an ordinance that's being broken, and he did respond, and I appreciate Justin did give me a copy of his response. I'm here to tell you that the barking is still going on, not as much because, for one, it's sub-0 degree temperatures, but Saturday while we were out shoveling our driveway, the dogs were barking. We were in the front of the house. You could hear the dogs barking from the back, and we heard people yelling at them. While Mr. King said that they're not doing that, I can tell you for a fact they are still doing that, still yelling at the dogs. So once again, I'm bringing this to this board and saying, you know, a neighboring community looked at the facility located here and decided it would be too disruptive, and yet we continue to allow this owner to operate, breaking this nuisance ordinance, when one of the things he'd said when we brought up the issue about this being a noise is that it's going to be too loud, and it's only 100 yards from residents' homes, and he said there wasn't going to be any barking. There is still barking. So I'd like to know, other than just taking a watch and see approach, what can we do to be more proactive? Who can we call when these things happen on Saturday afternoon? I can't call you all. You don't want to hear from me. I'm tired of coming up complaining about it. But I can't keep living in our house with this noise. Third, PDI noise. I do appreciate that Kevin did tell me that he's still trying to reach out to PDI about the noise that has continued for 3 weeks up until today, continued to run 24/7. He's been trying to reach PDI to find out what's happening. We were told in August they were going to be doing renovation work that should eliminate some of the noise or greatly diminish it. Have never gotten an update. He suspected that the work was never done because they never called him back to investigate it. So I'd like an update. And again, who do we report this to complain about it? You all don't want to hear about it, but we're dealing with this on a daily basis. So I'd like an answer on who should be responsible, who at the city I should be reporting this to on a regular basis when these infractions can continue to be incurred. Thank you.
Okay, we'll close public comment. Move on to introduction. Well, with respect to the complaint, I'll address it real quick. We have certain responsibilities here at the Board of Aldermen. If you feel that there is a violation of a city ordinance or a law within the city, you can call the police, see if they issue a ticket, and it would be taken to the court, and the judge would make that decision above and beyond that. Because the nuisance violations are handled in the court system. And I guess my thoughts would be that unless one of the aldermen would like to say anything different, you have to call the police and have them issue a ticket, and they'll take them to court.
They won't do it.
Introduction, reading, and passage of bills. If I can have a motion, we're going to leave bill number 5769 on hold. First and second reading of bill number 5818, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. First and second readings only. Motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
And second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. First reading of bill number 5818, please.
First reading, bill number 5818 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Kirkwood Material, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
I don't know that we need the synopsis. This is for the material bid with Kirkwood Material. Any other questions? Alderman Saunders?
What is the addenda that's referred to on page 8? Let's see, I guess the first page is the bill, and then page 8, date 9/26/2013. There's two blanks, and they're the addendas. What is that as far as the contract? What?
It was placed in there if there wasn't added to it, and there wasn't.
Oh, there isn't. Okay, so this in its entirety makes the contract?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5818 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Kirkwood Material, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, any questions? Motion, please.
Your Honor, I move that we adopt this into
Second.
ordinance.
Second?
Second.
Motion was made by Alderman Robertson, second by Alderman Toohey. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Toohey?
Yes.
Alderman Saunders?
Yes.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5819, please.
I have to do the bill number first.
I'm sorry.
Bill number 5818 is now ordinance number 4483.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5819.
First reading, bill number 5819 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Breckenridge Material Company and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading Bill Number 5819 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Breckenridge Material Company and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay.
Move to adopt, Your Honor.
And second?
Second.
Motion is made by Alderman Robertson, seconded by Alderman Nguyen.
Alderman
Roll
Har-
Roll
Alderman
call.
Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill
First
number
read-
5819 is now ordinance number 4484.
First reading of Bill 5820.
First reading Bill Number 5820 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Fred Weber, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions? This is from asphalt material. Second reading, please.
Second reading Bill Number 5820 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Fred Weber, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions? Motion
I'll move.
and second?
Second that?
Motion is made by Alderman Nguyen, second by Alderman Robertson. Roll
Alderman
call.
Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5820 is now ordinance number 4485.
So Octavia, who's in more of a hurry, you or me?
Yes.
Sorry. Couldn't resist. First reading of Bill number 5821.
First reading Bill Number 5821 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Energy Petroleum and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading Bill Number 5821 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Energy Petroleum and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Saunders?
Oh, no, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just had my hand in the funny.
Motion
So moved.
and second.
Second.
Motion is made by Alderwoman Saunders, second by Alderman Tui to perfect Bill number 5821 into ordinance form. Roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5821 is now ordinance number 4486.
Thank you. First reading of Bill number 5822, please.
First reading Bill Number 5822 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and to execute an agreement with Fred Weber, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Any questions? Second reading.
Second reading Bill Number 5822 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Fred Weber, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
I'll move for adoption, Your Honor.
And second.
Second.
Motion was made by Alderman Robertson, second by Alderman Tui to perfect Bill number 5822 into ordinance form. Roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5822 is now ordinance number 4487.
Okay, thank you. First reading of Bill number 5823, please.
First reading Bill Number 5823 by title only, an ordinance granting approval of a site development plan for exterior renovation of an existing building and related site improvements at property numbered 1 Brentwood Promenade Court, which permits under the provisions of Chapter 25 of the Brentwood Code of Ordinances the development of that site, providing the conditions of such development, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions? This is actually for an additional store at the Brentwood Promenade on the, what would be the northeast corner, for an additional tenant, which is a hair salon. And I believe the applicants are here if anybody has any questions. Alderman Saunders?
This would probably be of Justin. Thank you, though. What was the vote from planning and zoning?
As far as,
The recommendation?
as far as the numbers, or was it just for an approval?
5-4, everyone
I
voted
believe it
yes?
was unanimous for it.
It was
So-
unanimous to forward
Yes.
this? Okay. I was looking at the map, the new site plan,
Yes.
and I was comparing it to the site plan that we approved in January 2013. And it appears to me that you're losing some parking spaces.
There are a couple that have shifted, and this was done through the construction process primarily when they started getting in and reviewing with the fire department was why those shifted.
Okay, because my concern was, Crawford, Bunty,
Right.
did the traffic study, and we're referring to that from 2012.
Correct.
But they did not do the turning radius study, which they had somebody else perform, which was this particular study.
Okay.
And when we looked at this study before, it just barely clears the parking lot. And now with the changing of that, I'm not certain that the the radius study would be the same. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not 100% familiar with that exhibit, but when we go through, before any permits are issued for the actual tenant finish for this, the fire district or the fire department, as well as the building official, will be involved in that review to make sure that they can get that truck back there.
But those changes weren't made specific to this tenant. They were made specifically to the building when they were building that portion of the building.
So,
Right.
Say that again.
Well, the building was built before this tenant was even proposed.
That is correct.
Right.
That is
So
correct.
the building, the footprint was there.
That is correct.
It's just that this tenant, the tenant to the front is not taking the entire space, so they had the availability to add another tenant.
That is
The
correct.
building, the total square foot of the building has not changed.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so then, like I said, the study I show, we are losing parking spaces, but you were saying that was just the nature of the construction when we,
Right. So when they get into the details, when they move through, when they start submitting the details and they look at where they're going to put the fire department connection, where they're going to put all the transformers on the site, there was some minor shifting that had to occur to accommodate making sure that, we have the fire department connections exactly where the fire department wants them, so that in the case of an emergency, they can get to them as easily as possible. And then there are several other items that are going to come up as the details of the building construction come up for life safety matters to make sure that those are handled appropriately.
okay. My concern is that we're adding another destination, therefore even more traffic. I know it's
Right.
still the same footprint,
Right.
but people coming for another reason, and we're already bumping the limit on the parking for the promenade.
Right. And we discussed this in detail at Planning and Zoning Commission, and we kind of had a circular discussion on it to some effect. Essentially, what we ended up, or what the commission ended up coming up with, was the addition of this tenant space being located kind of outside of the primary area of the promenade may actually help distribute some of the parking into some of the lower utilized areas. When CBB did the original parking study for the site, that was one of the things they found is you have some areas where parking was extremely probably overutilized or over capacity, and then you had some areas that were tucked back away which were almost empty completely. So the addition of this, what in effect is a very small tenant in the overall scale of the development, may actually help to pull some of those people into some lower utilization areas, being kind of on the north and eastern side of that building. The other item that was talked about with that was the nature of the use itself being the hair salon, that there's, as opposed to it being additional retail space, which was assumed in the original study, the addition of the hair salon, you'll have a lot more common trips associated with that use. So you'll probably have a lot of people who say, I'm going to go to get my hair cut and then go grab something from this store.
Okay. How have we been with the enforcement of the employee parking? I know that was a big thing for Alderman Kramer, and have the owners of the
We've
been
been
diligent?
continuing to talk with them. A lot of it has kind of been working with the new area opening up and kind of letting some of that shake out where you have the kind of initial spike in trips to the area, at least hopefully. So we're keeping an eye on it. We're keeping an open dialogue with the property owners, and we're also trying to make as many connections with the actual tenants as we can to promote those ideas. I think as a whole, I think we're being fairly successful. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but I think we're doing okay.
And from what was approved, how many spaces are we reduced after the final construction?
From what was originally approved, or from what the...
With this addition?
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I've got it here. Hold on a second. I'm wondering, is it possible to push this to January? The only reason is I'd like to hear Alderman Kramer's and,
Well, only if you want the business to go away. I mean, I don't think we can do that to businesses.
well, the only reason I say this is I did not vote for the expansion. I voted no, and we only have 5 aldermen here because I was concerned about the traffic and the flow up at the promenade, so.
As part of the last approval, there were, I believe it was 1,361 total parking spaces, and this will retain that number of parking
Right,
spaces.
so it's what was approved in that January.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's-
So- That's what I thought.
That's what was approved in January?
I would have to, I don't have the plan from January in front of me, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure. What number are you showing?
It's just reduced. I think it's reduced just like 3 or 4, but I still think we just keep trying to push and push to add more. Why did the original tenant, who was slotted to go in there?
This
Didn't
is
want-
the space that is immediately behind Carter's,
Uh-huh.
and Carter's did not want the additional
Space.
space.
They didn't have tenants when they built it out.
Right.
I mean, again, the overall square footage and calculation would be the same as before, just 2 different retailers. Total square foot's the same,
Correct.
so, okay. All right. Any other questions? All right.
We're going to hear from the,
Yeah, do you have anything further to add, or?
Certainly, Your Honor, thank you. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Renlund, I represent DDR Corporation. Just to ease some concerns as to parking, if this is helpful information, I know DDR is working with our contractor to add some additional parking spaces in some underutilized areas, so we are currently in the process of doing that if parking is in fact a concern here, so hopefully that helps answer that question. I'm certainly open to any other questions you may have.
Anybody? All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay, second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5823 by title only, an ordinance granting approval of a site development plan for exterior renovation of an existing building and related site improvements of property numbered 1 Brentwood Promenade Court, which permits under the provisions of Chapter 25 of the Brentwood Code of Ordinances the development of that site, providing the conditions of such development, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, just one other question, just for clarification as well. So the tenant is actually going to be,
At this point, they're working, I don't know if it's finalized at this point. They are looking for it to be Great Clips.
Great
is-
Clips.
is who they're hoping to finalize the deal with.
and why for this one tenant do we need a conditional use permit?
We do not need a conditional use permit for this. That was actually, it was removed. There was no public hearing this evening for it. There was some original discussion in some of the transition period between myself and the former director. And there was some thought that it may need one. After reviewing it, it does not need a
Well,
conditional
then,
use permit
why does this need our approval?
for the site plan approval. They're changing the storefront of the building.
Oh,
They
to
will
put
be
a
adding
sign
the
on,
additional
The
storefront.
signage in.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
okay, thank you.
Is that all?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is that the only reason that this comes before us, is for signage ordinance?
Well, the signage in the door, it's changing the site plan,
Okay.
because they'll have their own entrance.
Exactly.
Okay. And it looks here like the curb cut, where that going around the corner, that's changed since the January. Is that what you did in order to accommodate a truck moving around?
That is what was done as part of the prior review and approval for the expansion that is now in place. So that modification of that curb line there is in place today to accommodate that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Okay. We had second reading. Any other questions? Motion, please.
Move for adoption, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion is made by Alderman Robertson, seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
It is one more thing. You're sure this was unanimous vote from planning and zoning?
Yes.
Because it wasn't coming forward for the expansion. It was a 5-4 vote. But they looked at the turning radius in that, this particular site plan.
It was unanimous. There was
Okay.
very little discussion.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Bill number 5823 is now ordinance number 4488.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5824.
First reading Bill number 5824 by title only, an ordinance granting approval of a site development plan and conditional use permit to Sullins Auto Sales for an office associated with automotive sales at property numbered 2820 and 2828 South Brentwood Boulevard, which permits under the provisions of Chapter 25 of the Brentwood Code of Ordinances the development of that site, providing the conditions of such development, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
And again, this is for Sullins Auto Sales, which we had the public hearing earlier. The applicant is here if anybody has any questions for them.
Again, for staff, for me.
Okay, Alderwoman Saunders.
Or also the applicant, both, I have questions. Why are you leaving the Webster location?
I leased it out
Pardon me?
in January. I leased that location out in January.
Oh, okay. You leased it to someone else?
I leased it to, yes.
Okay. You didn't want to maintain your business there no?
I maintained it for 30 years, and, you know, it got kind of hard to, in the service station business, that was what I actually did there, and I had an auto sales also. And, you know, they were pushing us little guys out in the gas station, I'll say gas station business. You know, they're building so many new gas stations, so many new facilities that, you know, at my age, I was either going to have to go borrow about $4 or $5 million and build a location to, you know, so that is why I leased it out. And they are going to build a location down, they are going to build a very nice facility down there.
Okay, thank you. And then Justin? And did we check with Webster as far as the conditional use permit, and did they adhere to the, were they a good tenant?
I was not. I talked to the planning director there, and she did not indicate any issues that they've had in the past.
Okay, did we ask her to make sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and what was the vote coming forward from planning and zoning? From
Again, it was unanimous.
okay,
With the conditions that were included.
With the conditions, and were these
Correct.
all the same conditions? Did Webster have any additional? It says that we have the same as Webster. Did we eliminate?
That packet that was included in there, that was actually submitted by the applicant. So that's what they provided in there. I'm not sure what the conditions of the permit that they were operating under at Webster Groves, I'm not sure what those conditions were.
They didn't limit the
Can I
number of.
ask you?
Right.
Okay, if the tenant wants to answer,
Yeah.
or the applicant, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, yes, they did. They had about the same use permit. They had no banners, no signs, no flying clowns, anything like that. So, and I did that for 30 years, since 1983. One of your planning and zoning board members said something like, you know, what I really do is I've got my business had built up so well that I have people that call me and want cars. I've sold many cars to people here that work here at Brentwood, and you know that's why that don't bother me on that 30-day, because they'll call me and say my kid's going back to college, can you find me a Honda Accord or so forth, so on. I'll find them that car, and then they'll come and they'll pick that car up. That's why that stipulation on 30 days on that card being there didn't bother me at all. And a lot of my business is wholesale. I buy from Mung & S, I buy from the Dean team, which is here in your town, and I buy from the Sun Trucks, and I take those cars directly to the auto auction, so they will never even see that lot. They will go directly from Suntrop or Munganess to St. Louis Auto Auction.
Okay, can I make just one comment? Since it is a conditional use permit, and as you've heard, we issued one to the watering hole, and we're having difficulties. Just so that you know, because it's revocable, that you will adhere to the conditions.
Absolutely, sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
I mean, I wish you
And
best
I
of
have
luck.
for-
I'm all for
I have
small.
for 30 years, you know, and yeah, I wish you would call Webster Groves, because I had a really good relationship for 30 years with Webster Groves.
Good. And I do, I mean, I appreciate you looking at Brentwood, and I support small businesses, and so I understand.
Well, you know, I didn't want to be one of the guys that you've probably dealt with maybe, or somebody has, that says, you know, I'll meet you at Snook's parking lot, and I'll sell you the car, and I'll do the paperwork on the trunk of the car. I've never done business that way in 30 years, and I'd like to have an office where I can conduct the business and have the people come in, that's comfortable, do the paperwork. It takes about 30 minutes. I would
Yeah, it
rather do it.
seems like a
right.
great match, since you have the auto service there to check them out, or do the
Well,
inspections.
and I
is
use
that-
them. Walters
Okay,
I've
right.
used for the past 20 years. They do my state inspections and emissions, and, you know, all the cars that I sell are state inspection and emissions. So it's a good match for me. It really is, yeah.
Good, thank you.
Great.
That's it.
Thanks, Greg.
Did we have any complaints from the residents or any concerns?
We did not hear back from any residents after the notifications were sent out.
Thank you.
Okay. Second reading?
Second reading, Bill number 5824 by title only, an ordinance granting approval of a site development plan and conditional use permit to Sullins Auto Sales for an office associated with automotive sales at property numbered 2820 and 2828 South Brentwood Boulevard, which permits under the provisions of Chapter 25 of the Brentwood Code of Ordinances the development of that site, providing for the conditions of such development, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Motion, please,
I'll make that motion.
and second.
Second.
Motion is made by Alderman Harper, second by Alderman Tui. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robinson?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5824 is now ordinance number 4489.
Welcome back to
Welcome to
Brentwood.
Brentwood.
Sorry, I put you through the ringer.
All right, next item, item 10, accounts against the city. Boa, do you want to present these, or somebody from, Patrick? Do you want to present these from Ways and Means?
I'm not sure I'm supposed to summarize it.
Well, all you need to do is read
The
the total at the
total.
bottom. How's that?
All right.
Warrant list.
So we have a warrant list for the total amount of $236,697.
Any questions?
I
Alderman
just
Saunders?
requested in the future that if we could get copies of the invoices along with the warrant list, and it's something we can talk about later when we talk about the code of conduct, because if if I'm going to have to do sunshine requests for supporting information, here I just occasionally will ask for one invoice or to see a copy, but if we're approving invoices and I have to go through that procedure to see copies of the invoice, I would just assume have them attached.
Okay, well, I think that's something the board can talk about too. I think that's an awful lot of work to put all the invoices together. Again, this is supposed to be a summary of the expenses, for the board's consideration. And, that would be a whole nother process to put all of the invoices and attach them to these items, so.
Well, I have no problem as long as, if I ask to see one, I can see, but if I, because I don't ask to see all of the invoices. It was, actually, I think I've only asked maybe two, but that's, like you said, conversation for January.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the warrant list?
So moved.
And second?
I'll second, Your Honor.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. I have nothing further under the mayor's report this evening. Public safety?
No report.
Public Works?
Excuse
I'm
me, our
sorry.
meeting was canceled for this.
Oh, that's
month.
right. Okay. Public Works Committee?
Likewise, we moved our meeting to January.
Director of Planning, anything? Thank you. Ways and Means, not present. Anybody comments? City Attorney?
No report, Your Honor.
City Clerk Administrator?
No report, Your Honor.
Excise Commissioner? Library?
No report.
Municipal League? Nothing further. Historical Society?
No report.
And no closed session. Any unfinished business? Ms. Sanders?
Just if I could get the references for the code of conduct, where you got the various portions of that for, and then an update on the Meridian.
Well, there's a number of cities that have the code of conduct, so I can get you a list of those.
Thank you.
With respect to Meridian, they had come to an agreement, and the judge gave them a 90-day extension. They had arranged for financing. The developer had. The bank was in agreement with the structure that they were working with, and so they had a 90-day extension, so there was no trial that would have started December the 10th. We're still waiting to have that document signed by the developer, which the initial thing is they would have to put some money into escrow. And then once that is executed by the two parties, then we'll bring it back for our approval. But
Yes.
that's really where it is.
They have 90 days to implement the settlement.
Right.
You have 90 days to implement. Okay.
So, and hopefully that would be sooner than later. A couple of documents had dates on it they were supposed to be signed.
90 days would
Yeah.
probably be sometime in March.
No, I mean that they enter into the agreement.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
that has to be done first.
right.
May I ask that we get copies, I know it's confidential, drafts of the agreement, so that we can kind of see what's going on. It's not just all of a sudden at once.
Well, we'll have to wait till they execute it because it's their agreement, then they'll
Right,
forward
we
it to
don't
us.
have it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any new business? Alderman Harper?
Happy 21st birthday, Mayor, on Friday.
Oh, 21st, thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Actually, one item, and I just happened to hear this on the radio today, and actually ran it by the police chief, and I'm going to ask Public Works to look at it, see what action they take on it. But I thought it was interesting that the city of Manchester has a bill before them tonight that they were going to restrict texting and moving automobiles to no one. The state statute that there are laws that they passed a year or so ago only said that people under the age of it's either 21 or 18 can't text and drive, which is kind of silly in my mind. And I think hearing the police chief in Manchester talking on the radio said they have numerous accidents on Manchester and 141, and the police reports say that it's caused by distracted driving, and I know that it's very hard to enforce, but I think if more municipalities at least take a stand and initiate something like that, maybe the state will wake up and really enforce it on everybody and eliminate that from the driving process. So we'll see how it goes with Manchester, maybe get a copy of the ordinance and bring it back to public safety, but I just think it'd be kind of a good idea. So.
I wanted to add a comment, kind of along the lines of traffic safety. I was one of the people that voted against renewing the camera contract, but 2 weeks ago there was a hit and run that actually was in the line of double Ds when this occurred. And I was pretty surprised that fact that a car would hit another one and then just take off. It's made me kind of rethink once the courts decide what to do with the traffic cameras and give us some guidance, maybe revisit that subject.
Well, where does that stand? They were going to submit us another contract, and
Well, they have.
oh, they have.
But the recommendation is that the city take no action until the case has gone back to court and it's been settled. A lot of the cities who currently have red light cameras are not enforcing it. They're not processing the violations until the matter's been settled in court.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
I
fine.
think after that, first we voted no, but then I think when they came back and did their presentation and explained how it's used to help solve crimes, we asked public safety to revisit it, so, yeah, I agree with
So,
you.
yeah, it's just something that's kind of made me change my opinion and would like to.
Well, we're still open for it, and it's the
Yep.
public safety. We've heard some people and just waiting to see what the case comes out.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
If anybody would like to address the Board of Alderman, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Susan Lee, I live on Eulalie. Good idea about the texting. I've called or contacted our state rep, Gina Mitten. I can't remember who all they are, but she's the only one that answered me. And apparently it has become before the state legislature a number of times, but she said it just dies on the floor every time. Nobody seems to, I don't know how to, how you proceed with that, but maybe if enough people contacted them, we could get enough pressure. The other thing is the promenade again. And the parking down there is insane. And I don't know why or who has the power, if it's Sansone or Brentwood or who. Every time I go down there, and I'm down there probably 4 times a week, every one of those side parking lots are empty. Behind Target on the north side, completely empty. The one behind Target on the west side, the one behind Micro Center on the west side, they're always empty. There's nobody in them. And I think there's one over by the PetSmart. And there's a couple of cars there. But there's a lot of spaces that the employees could be using. And I don't know how that would get enforced. I mean, who could enforce that? I mean, I used to have to take a shuttle bus and pay to park at SLU, and it's free parking. It's only walking around the building. And it's awful down there. It's just awful. If they could only get some of these employees to start using those lots. But they don't seem to. They said they were restriping them in the center for the employees, but that makes no sense. I mean, it still should be for the patrons that are going in there.
Okay.
So I don't know, I don't know who you can put pressure on. And those curb things at the ends of each, aisle, if they could only take about 2 feet off of each one of those, you could turn your car more easily. Most of the time you can't make your turn. If there's another car coming, it's really a bad design down there, but anyway.
Okay.
You guys have more pressure than I do.
Alderman Saunders.
I agree with that as far as the parking. The only reason I, voted yes for this is because the spaces were reduced, as you said, as part of the expansion. I voted against the expansion. But a condition of the expansion when it passed is that employee parking was to be enforced. And Alderman Kramer was very assertive, I should say, with meeting with the owners of the properties there and coming up with a policy. And we really need to enforce it. Or
There is a policy in place. We just need to revisit it to make sure that they continue to meet with the property managers or the store managers of each one of the stores down there to make sure that their employees are parking in the right spaces.
I just can't understand why Target, that side lot sits empty, and I think it's so, well, now I guess with the entrance moving down, but even prior to that entrance being moved, that lot was always empty, and I could never understand why.
I believe one of the concerns they also raised was after-hour security for their employees, but we'll revisit that and provide you with an update.
And I can tell you, employees at Trader Joe's go to work at 4 in the morning, and leave at 11 o'clock at night. So I think security is part of that, if they had to park at the ends of the building to walk around. So, it's a difficult thing, and I know it can be frustrating when you can't find a parking space down there, or one that you can fit your car in on top of it. On the lighter side, as Yogi Berra would say, it's so crowded nobody goes there anymore. There's a demand for it, and people are going to park in the closest spaces, and it's just inevitable. No matter you can only do so much to change that behavior. So they're going to park as close as they can to be as most convenient for them. So, we're working on that and trying to follow up on the parking plan with the employees. So.
Yeah, I really do, because I mean, the individuals that voted to go ahead with the expansion, it was on the condition the employees would park where they're supposed to. So if an issue is that someone comes in at 4 a.m., I know the same when I worked at Famous Bar. I got out real late, and there was a security guard there to escort you to their car. So if they need a security guard there, I mean, those are problems that they're going to have to deal with in getting their employees' safety safely in there, but that was a condition of the agreement with the expansion, so I think we need to press them.
Okay.
Denise Subbing again. Mayor, you had said that if there are barking dogs or nuisance, we're to call the police, and we have done that in the past, and we've been told by the police that there isn't an ordinance, when in fact there is an ordinance, and it was even quoted in the letter that went out to the barking dogs. So I would ask that maybe the city administrator send a copy of that ordinance to the police chief and let him know that if we do call, that instead of telling us, one, there's no ordinance, or two, that we're being pest and they can't tell the business what to do, that in fact they do take it seriously and cite the facility. And I'd like a copy of that letter that goes to the police chief, please. Thank you.
Okay. Close public comment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And second.
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.